Okay, I've got my steering box apart, and if you remember from the last video, this steering box per se is nothing more than a hub off of a snowblower. Boy, I'm having a hard time picking the words out. Anyway, I've got it apart and trying to determine why we have so much play in the steering wheel. And you can see all the play that we have there. And that's probably, not an eighth of a turn, but quite a bit. But notice if I push this bushing here back in tight against, and it will be clamped down in there, I eliminate most of the play. And I can deal with that little bit of play. It's this amount here that is not acceptable. So all I have to do, I have determined, is this has a thrust washer down in here. Right here. See that? All I have to do is get a thicker thrust washer to go in there to take up that play. And if I do that, then it would be the same as me holding this in tight against there like that, and it would virtually eliminate the vast majority of my play. I could deal with that amount. This end here is solid, well, I shouldn't say solid, this end here is fixed because this gear is on a Woodruff key, and these bushings fit tight inside here like that. So if I replace this with a wider bushing in here, I think I would be all set. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to run over to the hardware store and see if I can find a bushing that will take up that slack. Either one to take up the difference, like that would do. That's still not quite enough. Or, let's see, this one. Oh, I dropped it. Wash it. Put the screwdriver down, George. Is it not going to be, that one's too thick. And the thing is, I have to get one that is going to fit over the shaft as well. That one's a hair too thick as well. Well, I'm going to keep tinkering with it till I find one that'll fit in there. That one's real close. I could sand that one down, but it has to be big enough so that it'll fit over here, you know, go over this. So all I got to do is take this one and find one that is thicker or another one like it. Okay, here is the result of our shimming. That's the full extent. Let me turn you just a little bit more so you can see the end of the shaft. That is the full extent of our play now. And how we accomplish that, pull this cover off of here. I'm going to have to see if I can find them. Seals to go in there. How we accomplished that is I went to the hardware store and I bought these two bronze bushings, but they were just a hair too thick. I mean, just a hair. So I went digging in my stash of junk and came up with another thrust washer that turns out to be just the right thickness and the right size. A little bigger in diameter around the outside, but that's not a problem. Bigger is better than smaller. It's actually the same size. Bring you right up here. It's actually the same size as the flange on this bushing. So the original one is on the inside, back in there, and then this is the new one right here. And that took up just enough slack so that now this baby will just go down in there, and that takes care of my slack, my problem with too much slop. So I can finish pulling this apart. I can sandblast my casings and clean them all up and get them ready for paint. And I'll have 3 parts to paint. I just put another coat of metal etching primer on the pulley for the transfer box that we were talking about in the last video. And that will be ready for paint. That's probably going to get painted, probably going to get painted red, and because the transfer box is going to get painted hammered silver. So yeah, I need to get some seals to go in our housing so that we can keep the oil in there, because these are the same way. These were packed with grease originally, and I'm going to put STP in them this time around. Although I think, you know, grease probably would be sufficient for these because they don't spin much. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just put grease back in these. And that being the case, I really wouldn't have to be too concerned about having seals over in here. As I recall, these didn't have seals originally. So, yeah, I'll have to do some investigation on that. Although most steering boxes have like regular gear oil in them. I don't know. I'll think about it. Next step though is to get these cleaned up and get them painted. More progress on the old Goofy cart. Thanks for watching. Bye now. The junk drawer with shims and bearings and bushings, all kinds of different stuff that we've scavenged from different mowers and other things that we've taken apart. You never know when they're going to come in handy, you know. You never know, you might need a big wrench too.